All right, it is Thursday, February 12th. Now, I want to make people get very upset when we don't address this. We have Anna Navarro. We have no Cha-Cha.
I know.
People are really upset. Even on the podcast, they like to watch Cha-Cha.
I am terribly sad that she's not here. I'm missing her greatly. It's just too cold, and you know what the problem is? It's not even the cold, because she's got a collection of coats that could rival any movie stars.
Yeah.
It's the fact that there's nowhere for her to pee.
Yes, I understand.
The dogs here in New York do
They're
their
used to it.
business on pavement, on snow, on anything. I mean, they will climb a mountain of uranium and do it there. Cha-Cha is a very bougie dog. If there's no green grass, she's not doing it. So,
all right. Well, bear with us, folks. She will return at some point. Cha-Cha will return in Avengers Doomsday. All right. It's been just 4 days since the Bad Bunny Bowl. Was it everything you wanted it to be?
I don't even know that it's been 4 days, because I have been in such a cloud of joy since that halftime show. And I have watched it. You know, it's one of the most watched halftime shows in history. On social media consumption, it has broken all sorts of records between the social media platforms, the influencers, people posting about it. It's reached over 4 billion hits and views. And I assure you, I account for at least 100,000 of them. I have listened to it so many times, and it's now, you know, I described it on Monday's show as micro joys to deal with the macro sadness. And I hear it, and every time I hear it again and I see it again, I see new things that I hadn't seen that bring me more and more joy. And I just, you know, I'm able to take up in more of the little details. I have to tell you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And I've told you this again. I have told you many times. What has been happening in this country, particularly against the Latino community and the immigrant community, hits us all. And I appreciate the allyship. But when you are Latino, when you are an immigrant, when you do have a name with vowels, when you have an accent, when you look like me, it is so heartbreaking what we have lived through the last year of seeing our children detained. There's over 3,800 children still in detention. Just seeing the humiliation of our people, the racial profiling, the discrimination, it's been so horrible. And Bad Bunny was the hug that the Latino community needed so badly. Bad Bunny was the affirmation that we needed. We needed to see him on that huge stage representing us proudly, not shying away from his roots, not shying away from his heritage, and saying, we are all Americans, we all belong, and we will get through this. Don't stop believing in yourself, and love trumps hate. And you know, I was listening to an interview that Mark Anthony gave to Telemundo, because a lot of the Latin stars, a lot of the stars are asking to react to how they felt about the halftime show. And Mark Anthony in this interview said something that I thought was so meaningful and poignant. He said, you know, most halftime shows is all about the star, is all about the singer. It's all about, you know, see me flying through the stadium, lifted up on cable, see me on this pole, look at what I'm wearing, look at me, I'm the star. Bad Bunny's halftime show was not about Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's halftime show was about history, was about culture, was about pride and identity, was about diversity, was about unity. It was about everything. And the Bad Bunny of it was actually, you know, he was dressed in simple white clothes designed by Sarah, which is, you know, fairly affordable brand. And so it was marvelous what he did. And, you know, because of my timeline, because I consume so much Latino content, for lack of a better word, on my timeline, the happiness that people have felt, the exuberance, the joy. I can't tell you the amount of people that were on social media in tears and talking about how they had been brought to tears because at a time when we have done nothing but get beaten up by the Trump administration, here comes Bad Bunny to lift us and to remind us that we are great and that we belong and that we are part of this society and that we contribute and that we bring things to the table. So it was just spectacular.
I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but you had shown me the ESPN Deportes anchor that was kind of tearing up talking about it too. It was really beautiful.
This is a sports anchor for ESPN en Español who has covered dozens of Super Bowls, and he was on the sideline, and he was tearing up as he responded to that. But that was everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. How many times do you tell me I'm dead inside?
Yes.
And I was brought almost to tears by this because I know what it meant for my people.
Mm-hmm.
And
note she said almost to tears because she's dead inside. But yes.
It was, listen, that scene with the little boy.
Oh, that was really
great. Where
he
gave that boy his Grammy. And what he said to him in Spanish, he touched his head and he said, "Nunca dejes de creer en ti." Never stop believing in yourself. And also, the spectacular significance of having Ricky Martin there. Ricky has been a star for almost 50 years since he was a child. And to have Ricky, who means so much to my generation of Latinos, come out and to recognize what Ricky has done and how Ricky has opened doors so that there can be a Benito going through those doors was extraordinary. And he has done that throughout his residency, Bad Bunny, and his people. Concerts.
Yeah.
He's brought so many of the greats and exposed people of the generation that follow him to people like Rubén Blades and Ivy Queen and Mark Anthony. I mean, it's just been, I think it's him showing respect for those who came before him and did the hard things before him. And it was just beautiful, not to mention, God, but boy, are they good to look at. Ricky Martin looks so fine.
I enjoyed many of the dancers, but I want to throw this out there because people want to know this. I know the answer to this because of the weekend we had together, but did you know that Ricky Martin was going to be there?
So I had my suspicions. Okay,
yes.
So are we going to tell people that we bet on this?
All right, so here's the thing. As listeners of this podcast know, I enjoy a little recreational gambling.
No, you have a gambling problem.
I enjoy gambling recreationally.
You are addicted to recreational gambling.
I am responsible.
It is like a full-time job.
I am responsible. Well, for the first time, you dipped your toe into this world with
yes.
me because we went into the prediction markets.
Yes.
And the idea on these things is you can basically place a wager of sorts on anything that's going to happen, including who was going to show up at the big game in the halftime show. Given that it was Latino culture on display, I saw people hypothesizing online that Ana Navarro would make an appearance at the halftime show, but you were too short. But what happened was I thought I'd hit up my friend Ana Navarro and see what she knew. So, yeah, was Gloria Estefan going to be there? Is Ricky Martin going to be there? Is Mark Anthony going to be there? Let's place some bets. You came along with me on this journey, but you didn't have any actual answers. We had guesses and hopes and thoughts.
Okay, well, so I saw Ricky post from L.A. the day before. He posted a picture of his feet.
It was a trick.
He was getting, and I sent it to you, and I said, I think this is a distraction.
Yes.
I'm getting Ricky Martin vibes. I think Ricky's going to be there. And then I sent Ricky a text. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Ay, bebé." I don't even know what I said to him. But he had, earlier in the week, after the Grammy win that Bad Bunny had a week before, the Sunday before, Ricky had written Bad Bunny a beautiful letter. Hermano, Benito, my brother. Thank you for never compromising on your heritage. Thank you for never changing your voice. Thank you for, it was a beautiful, really heartfelt letter. So I wrote Ricky a text talking to him about how beautiful that letter was. Radio silence.
Uh-oh.
And Ricky always responds. Mm-hmm. So when Ricky was radio silent, I was like, oh my God.
Something's
But
you
know what? I didn't have the guts
to
go with my sense, to go with my feeling. If I had the guts, we could have chartered a yacht in this summer in Greece. But we did win because I was also looking at Mark Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark flew to Las Vegas.
Yes.
The day before, where he has a residency that starts this weekend. But I thought, okay, Las Vegas is right next to California.
You can get there, yeah.
He could get there easily. He could hop over. So I was very nervous, but I thought, okay, if Mark is in Las Vegas, he's probably not going to be there. So then we bet on Mark Anthony not being there, and we won.
We won. I also, however, and this is bothering me, I bet on Cardi B being there, and she was there, but she didn't sing. She danced. She was on camera, and she didn't sing, so they wouldn't give me my full win. I actually lost half my money on that, and I'm a little annoyed about it.
You know what I was thinking about this week, though, is imagine all the hate that Bad Bunny has been receiving since it was announced that he was going to do the halftime show.
Yes.
And the hate that Bad Bunny is receiving is all about politics and racism.
Yes.
The fact that he sings in Spanish, the fact that he's Puerto Rican, the fact that, that's his heritage, and also the fact that he has been a political activist. In his native Puerto Rico, he was out there in the streets protesting against one of the governments. Yeah. His comments at the Grammys, his decision not to do his tour here in the mainland U.S., all of those things. So the hate towards Bad Bunny, strictly political and racist, and sometimes both. Mm-hmm. But despite the pressure that he's got to have been receiving, the threats, the trolling, just, being in the middle of this Category 5 hurricane of division and discrimination, that guy was able to focus and deliver. And I thought the same thing about the Olympic athletes.
I thought you were going to say you thought the same thing about me with my bets. I was very excited.
By the way, I'm not betting again. I found that very...
You were very stressed.
I know, it's very stressful. And you don't get to enjoy the thing.
I enjoy it more.
Because you don't get to enjoy whatever you bet on because you're so focused on whether your bet is going to pay off or
I was waking up at like 6 a.m. to Instagram posts that Anna Navarro sent me of sound checks of people outside the stadium videotaping the sound check to try to figure out what was going to happen and who was going to be there. I was impressed by how much you came along with me. It was good.
You see, I also wanted to bet that Shakira wasn't going to be there because I knew she was in El Salvador doing a concert. Mm-hmm. But we should have bet on that too.
Yeah,
no, but I'm not doing this again. I find it too stressful. I don't have the...
Yeah, that's what I said the first time I lost too, but I came back. You'll see.
We didn't lose.
No, we didn't. Well, you didn't lose. I lost a little bit.
You owe me money.
I do. I'm going to get you your money.
Fine.
You won't Venmo. I don't have cash. I will get you your money.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I'm old-fashioned.
I know.
I'm like those old Latin guys who go around with like a wad of cash and like Italians also, right? A wad of cash with like a rubber band.
Rubber band around
That's
it.
me. I don't,
I know. You're very, it's funny because you're tech savvy in other ways, but you will not.
No, I won't. I don't want to be like, what's his name?
Matt Gates.
Matt Gates, to have people know,
what you're spending your money on.
Because I'm not going to be able to put the settings on correctly. No. It's going to be a disaster. I don't want to do that.
All right. We started the show today talking about this explosive hearing with Attorney General Pam Bondi, who I will never let you forget that you started this podcast with me this year saying, I think she's going to be okay. But you've known her a long time, and today you called her a high school version of Lady Macbeth, which is a deep burn. What do you make of yesterday's hearing?
Oh my God, it's just, I was like vicariously embarrassed for her because the levels that she's stooping to in order to stay within the circle of power, in order to stay in Trump's good graces and MAGA's good graces, there's just no bottom to that barrel. And yeah, listen, I have known Pam Bondi. I socialized with her. We went out together. She was a nice person. She was a normal person. And so to see her turn into this poisonous snake, just spewing out venom from her fangs and these, rehearsed lines that were just so dramatic, over dramatic. You don't get to tell me. Literally, she wouldn't even be cast in a Mexican telenovela. Okay. And that's like the high bar for drama. And it was awful to see the way Pam Bondi, a woman from Florida, a woman who is very aware of what's happened to those young girls in Florida, most of them, to see her not even turn around to acknowledge the presence of the survivors and the family of the dead survivors who were in the room. It just showed a level of disdain, of disrespect, of contempt that I think was unacceptable. And she could have done herself so much good and done the country so much good if she had turned around and she had said, not only my DOJ has failed you, but 3 other DOJs have failed you. Listen, these women have been failed by 4 different administrations.
Yeah.
It was Alex Acosta under Bush that gave Epstein the sweetheart deal. The Obama DOJ did nothing about it. The Biden DOJ did nothing about it. And the Trump DOJ did nothing about it. If anything, I give credit to the MAGA world because they made the Epstein files an issue during the 2024 campaign.
They kept it at the top of the...
They never let go of it. Mm-hmm. It cost Marjorie Taylor Greene her job in Congress. People like Nancy Mace, who go along with Trump on everything, stood up to him on this Epstein file issue, and there were Republicans who voted and made it possible for the release of these files.
That's true.
So I give them the credit of that. And I think they're right. I am pissed as hell with Merrick Garland because it would have been a very different story if Merrick Garland had released these files under the Biden administration. But I think Merrick Garland, who moved at the pace of a wounded sloth, was afraid of being viewed as political, as politicized. And because he was viewed as that, he did things like prosecute Hunter Biden. He did things like appoint a special counsel on the Joe Biden and documents case. And he did things like not release the Epstein files. We could have seen and should have seen these files a long time ago. But you know what? That is not an excuse for Pam Bondi to act the way she is acting. Because Merrick Garland, bad on him, shame on him. But right now, she is the Attorney General of the United States. This is her Department of Justice. This is her Bureau of Federal Prisons that transferred Ghislaine Maxwell from a maximum security prison in Florida to a minimum security prison with all sorts of perks in Texas. It is her DOJ that has dragged its feet on releasing these files and had to been forced to release them by Congress, kicking and screaming. It is her DOJ that has refused the offer of survivors to meet with federal agents and tell them their stories. And I mean, she could have turned around yesterday and she could have said to those survivors, I am sorry that we haven't met with you. We will do so today.
Yeah.
Immediately. She could have turned around to those survivors and said, Ghislaine Maxwell should have never been transferred to a lesser security prison. She will be transferred back to where she was today. It is her jurisdiction, and she chose not to do it. Instead, she chose to be haughty and petty and petulant with her nose lifted up and just use the time for theatrics and performance of cruelty and disdain. It was one of the most, out of all of the disgusting things, performances I have seen in congressional hearings, this took the cake as by far the worst I have ever seen because those Epstein survivors were there. Feeling the trauma of knowing that the Attorney General of their government refuses to even look at them.
You mentioned this before, but the Olympics are happening right now, and some Olympic athletes have said that they feel conflicted about representing the country on the world stage because of what is happening here right now. And Trump's gone after them. J.D. Vance has told them to stop talking. What did you think about this? Because, I mean, I will say, I don't disagree with their right to say these things, but there is a feeling like when you're not in your own country and you're overseas, you need to represent America. But it's hard to do that when some of the things like this are going on.
Well, first they got asked the questions, right? They were being asked the question. Second of all, when else are they going to have this kind of platform to speak and get coverage? And third of all, I think they are representative of a lot of Americans, including me, who feel conflicted emotions and mixed emotions because nothing, not Donald Trump, not Pam Bondi, none of his minions are going to take away the love I feel towards the United States, the gratitude I feel towards the United States for having opened its doors to me and giving me refuge when I was fleeing Nicaragua in a communist dictatorship. That doesn't mean that I cannot denounce and oppose the things that are happening in this country. In fact, I would tell you that denouncing and opposing the abuses of powers and the cruelty that the Trump administration is perpetrating on American soil is done out of love for your country. If you didn't give a damn, you wouldn't say anything. But because people give a damn, because they care about their democracy, because they care about how their country is viewed throughout the world, because they care about civil rights and human rights, that's the reason that they are speaking out. And so, but again, the same way I told you that, here is, think about this month since the year began. Donald Trump tweeting against Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Donald Trump tweeting against Olympic athletes. Do you know the hatred that's got to come the way of those Olympic athletes once Donald Trump makes you an issue and tweets against you? I know this. I've lived it in my own skin. It's like the gates of hell open up and every little demon goes through them, and you get hate online and on social media for months and months and months. So at the time when they are supposed to be focused on winning medals for our countries and on performing at the Olympics, they have to be dealing with the hatred and the trolling and the backlash that comes from speaking their minds and exercising their freedom of speech. It's just, it's insane. It's insane.
I don't disagree. All right. Before we go, are you and Al doing anything for Valentine's Day?
Yeah. We go. I hate going out for Valentine's Day to dinner because I think it's a bad day to be at restaurants. Like, you don't get good.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Everybody who doesn't go out to restaurants goes out to restaurants on Valentine's Day. So it's
service
usually
isn't as good. Everyone's overcrowded.
Isn't as good. Everything's crowded. A lot of times it's set menus. I don't like it. So I'm going to my bougie country club where the service is always good and there's, it's a limited number of people.
Not Mar-a-Lago.
No, it's not Mar-a-Lago. It's I think it's it's where now it's called Billionaire's Bunker. I'm basically the poorest person that goes through those gates. I just heard Zuckerberg just bought a house there, as it was reported this week, because everybody's moving from California. All the billionaires are moving from California because of some tax that they're threatening them with, and they're ending up in Florida. What are your plans?
So I'm being abandoned by my wife on Valentine's Day, not surprisingly. No, my wife and daughter are attending a Broadway workshop where my daughter's a aspiring singer and very involved in theater, and she auditioned for and got into basically classes, and then followed up by a cabaret she's performing in. So Heather and my
that's rather amazing.
I'm really excited for it. It's great. It's a real opportunity. So
if it wasn't going to stunt her and traumatize her for life, I'd want her to look at Pam Bondi's congressional hearing and grade it on an acting.
No, there we go. Yeah, I'll see what you can come up
level.
with. I'll see what you can come up with.
So you're doing what?
So I'll be with Lily, my youngest, and we're going to have our own little daddy-daughter day, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. I think we're going to go see a movie. We might see that movie Goat, the animated movie that we have had a couple of people on for, and go to dinner and ice cream and get all the stuff that Mom won't let us get.
One of the young women who works here was telling me she hosts a Galentine party every year. She's on her third year of hosting it. She goes all out decorating. It's like 15 women that come over in their pajamas and drink and hang out and do karaoke. That sounds so appealing to me.
That sounds like fun to me too. I'm not gonna lie. I can't get in there.
When you are with Lily, doing your Valentine's with Lily, do not bet. Be present.
Well, it's Saturday night. There's stuff going on. We'll see. I'll do the best I can. I'll place my bets before.
What else can we bet on?
We can do the NBA, the All-Star games this weekend, the Olympics.
No.
We can bet on politics. We can bet on culture. We can bet on stuff like that. It's kind of crazy.
Okay, you're gonna have to send me things that I might be interested in.
All right, you can bet on who the Republican nominee is going to be, J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio.
I think it's going to be J.D. Vance.
Okay, that doesn't pay as well.
All of MAGA is lining up behind him. Who do you think it's going to be?
I think so too, but it doesn't pay as well. If you said Marco Rubio, I'd be interested.
I want to see how much it pays.
Well, no one can watch us now. We'll do this here and we'll come back. Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining me today, Anna. Behind the Table will be back on Tuesday after President's Day, but on The View tomorrow, we have a new show. Comedian Zarna Garg is here, and our ABC News colleague, Juju Chang, who's great.
She's funny.
Yeah, Zarna's fantastic. Juju also kind of funny. On Monday, we'll also have an all-new President's Day of The View with legendary costume designer Ruthie Carter, who's amazing, and we're going to do like a little fashion thing with her. We're going to see the costume she did for Sinners and Black Panther and some movies with Whoopi and all this stuff. 911.
Do you know? Wait, I have to tell you this. She dressed me one time.
You're kidding.
I did a cameo on Being Mary Jane with Gab Union, who was here for the GOAT, and she dressed me. And I'm going to tell you the story before you continue with your reading.
Yeah.
So they sent me an email asking for my measurements. And I'm thinking to myself, come on, you see me on TV, you know I'm chubby, you know who I am, you know what I'm doing. But I sent back a joke email with Marilyn Monroe's measurements. And so then I get there and she's got an entire rack of clothes that are like that won't fit my thigh.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Yes, that happened to me.
She must have wanted to kill you.
I ended up having to wear my own clothes.
Missed opportunity. All right. We also have 911 Nashville star Jessica Capshaw, who's great. We'll have Hot Topics. We have a performance from Ragtime, which is unbelievable on Broadway. You would love it, actually. You should really see it. And that's it. So that'll be on Monday's show. And have a great holiday weekend. We'll see you then.
Behind the Table is executive produced by Brian Tetta. Supervising producers are Nathan Getty and Summer Shea. Associate producers are Emily Darcy and Katerina Alexopoulos. And our editor is Brian Davis. And director of publicity is Laurie Hogan. From ABC Audio, Trevor Hastings serves as senior producer, with director of podcast programming Josh Cohen.